So we're going to go ahead and start the next session. So if everyone can take a seat kind of up front. Come on forward and sit in the front. So this morning I have the privilege to present Harmony Thiessen. She has spoken to over 200,000 people in over 20 countries for over 20 years. Born to inspire, Harmony's genius has been in the area of creative thinking, design, development, and problem solving. An accomplished abstract artist, Harmony uses the same open-minded techniques that come naturally to her in art to educate and equip anyone who wants to learn creative thinking for practical solutions. After a 20-year career in human relief and development in developing countries, Harmony has owned several small businesses, speaker coaching, marketing, digital marketing, communication, and art-related retail products. Harmony's graduate studies majored in education, leadership, and curriculum design. She serves on several leadership teams in business, was a member of the Disaster Relief Management for Canada Red Cross, and works as a court-appointed advocate for children. So can we please welcome Harmony Thiessen.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to have a great time today because we're really not going to focus so much on your problem. We're going to focus on the solution. But the name is, what is your problem? And that's the whole focus of Sugar Snap Peas. What is your problem? And I love to say it like that. What is your problem? Because it doesn't matter what problem you have. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter if it's in your personal life. It doesn't matter if it's in your public life, your professional life. All problems are solved with the same kind of technique. Isn't that awesome? That's why I can take this material, and today we're talking about a different kind of problem, which I'm going to have you define. I don't want to say it. We're here talking on a certain subject, but it is a problem. And it is a problem a lot of people have in business and in their personal life, for that matter. And I'm here to encourage you today to tell you that whatever it is, whatever our problem is, we're going to learn techniques that you can apply to this problem and all kinds of problems. If you don't have this, please raise your hand. Madam, I'm not positive you got one yet. Here, I
could come there easier.
Creative thinking.
That's awesome.
You know what? This will prove my point. So we've been here, I'm supposed to be hooked up, right, for speaking. We have nothing to hook me on, and there it is. I'm probably the first speaker you've ever seen who did it on the boot, but there you have it. So excuse my cord, but at least it's working. So here's what we have to think about, first of all, when we talk about problems. And that is that a problem is not necessarily a bad thing. We somehow equate problems, like the problem you're going to define in a few minutes. We think of problems as as stuck, as troublesome, as depressing, as an issue. You know, we attach a lot of negative to the concept of a problem. But a problem can be an unbelievable knock on the door. A problem can be an opportunity you had no idea was going to show up. A problem can get you to look at and face things that you never even knew existed that open up all kinds of new doors. A problem can be an absolute break for you. Have any of you ever experienced that? Where the problem actually turned around and you were like, how actually, this is awesome. The turnout of this is better than the situation I had before I had the problem. And we can make that happen quite consistently if we understand how to train our brain to deal with a problem. So, first of all, let's just be honest. How we deal with problems is fairly predictable. We do stuff like this. It's the P's. We pretend. What do you think that means? We pretend. What do we pretend? It doesn't exist. This problem does not exist, right? Sometimes it's medical. Men are wonderful for that, right? They're just barely existing anymore. And you're like, have you gone to the doctor? No, I'm sure I don't have a problem. Oh, you have a problem. Right here. Yeah, we pretend it doesn't exist. We all do it. We do it in business all the time. We try to just think in our head that if we just keep ignoring it, what will happen?
It'll go away.
It'll go away. So we postpone. What do we postpone? We postpone taking action, right? Action seems too difficult. So we could use the word procrastinate, or we could use the word postpone. We postpone, we delay action. We just keep thinking there's a better way. We keep trying to figure out a different route to take. We just keep trying to avoid the problem. The problem's really bad. When I was here in the spring, we were talking about how to actually have conversations and even let people go. That feels like a problem. How many of you have delayed that problem? Yeah. And when we delay that problem, does it come back to bite us? Okay. What's the next thing we do? We presume. What do we presume about problems? What do we presume?
They're not as bad.
Okay, that's one way. In fact, I hadn't even thought about it that way. That's right, they're not as bad as all that. Or what else? We're never going to find an answer anyway. This problem is unsolvable, so we just have to learn to live with it, or whatever the case is, right? We abandon ourselves to problems. The problem is problems stack up in life. Problems stack up in business. Till finally you're avoiding so many problems that you have a, what? Problem. Your life has become a problem. And then we do something else. We predict. What do we predict? What do you think?
We predict they'll figure it out and fix it.
Okay, that's one. Someone else will fix it for us. You're going to love one of my videos. I put it in just for you. Yeah, just for you. You're going to love it. It's the last one. Just remember, it's my gift to you. Okay? All right, someone else is going to fix it for us.
I think we predict the future without a solution.
There we go. We predict the future without a solution. So we just keep thinking that life is going to go on like this, or we predict that the problem is going to be too difficult to solve, or we're not going to have the resources, or we're not going to have what we need. Right here today, we're here to talk about and we honestly, when Corky said to me, I'd like you to speak on time management, I'm like, no! How many of us have been to time? Oh my, to add infinity. Has it changed you? The problem is we can learn all the techniques over and over and over again, but as we're going to learn today, if you have the problem in your brain already, you're going to still always go back and recreate that problem and default over and over. So instead, I want to give you something much better than just time management. Here's different things that you can use to manage your time. I'd like to talk about why you have a problem with time. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's not how to manage time. Maybe it's how to solve the problem that we have with time. Maybe you and time have a communication issue. Maybe there are relationship problems between you and, which is why I don't wear one. I just figure the best way to solve my problem of time is just not really paying attention to it. So you may or may not want to listen to me today. So here's what we do with our problem. We tend to go around and 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 around the same information, trying to come up with a solution to why we can't solve our problem, right? And I'm here to tell you today that that actually wedges it in your neural pathways so deep that you are ensuring that you will have future problems on the same topic. So let's start. Let's start by defining our problem. I would like you to go to your first page. If you go past your title page and you go to your first page, it has a little line there. And I'd like you to write, because we all know what the topic is here, but I'd like you to define your problem. The top line says, please use the letter I. Like I. Start with I. Please define your problem, and please start with I. Do you know what I mean by that? It could be things like, I don't have enough time. I can't find a job. I can't pay the mortgage. I can't. Now, in your case, you're here about time. So, however you want to phrase your problem with I. Does anyone want to share your problem? So we can all laugh and make fun of you, please? Yes?
I get very easily distracted and sidelined. I will be doing something like balancing my checkbook on the computer, and then I see a pop-up ad or whatever, and then I go there and I never stay focused on what I'm doing.
Yes. Her problem is how deeply ingrained her problem is in her own mind. I'm not talking woo-woo with you, I'm talking scientific. If we were in for the half-day training or the full-day training, you would see all kinds of scientific, this is all based on science, it's not based on woo-woo. The fact is, it is so clear now in her mind that she doesn't see herself not being that person. Somebody else, please tell me your problem. Consider me your psychiatrist. Yes?
I need to make a lot of phone calls in my business. I'm so overwhelmed by how much there's to do, such a small amount of time, how many emails, but
Isn't that amazing? How many of you can say that is totally me too? If I can, there, 3 arms. That is so me. Did you hear what she said? Everybody heard? Yeah. So she sees herself, the list of phone calls, can we all, as she described it, could you see it? All those calls that you have sitting there, and then the discouragement that you feel about everything you have to do, and the piles of work that you have to do, and the calls you have to do, and because you have so much work to do, you feel so bad you can't make the calls, and before you know it, you really can't do the work, and then before you know it, you just go out for lunch. Because it's just like, whatever, right? Okay, now, do me a favor and write your problem. I think line 2 says, does it say how, right? Start with the word how when you define your problem. Start with the word how. Oh, don't. How? Did you do it? How many of you could do it? Would you share?
How can I get it all done in a day?
She defined her problem. How can I get it all done in a day? Anybody else? Yes.
How can I stay focused?
How can I stay focused? Oh, did you just see something that happened? Does anybody remember what she shared before when she said I? What happened when she said I? She did this, and she did this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and said, boom, doomed. And she described it for us in detail, right? When she used, you don't mind me making fun of you, do you? Okay, when she used how, I'm not really making fun of her. When she used how, what happened? Would you say again what you said?
How can I stay focused?
What happened? Do you see the difference? Okay, she became focused, but what? Can anybody describe what the sense that you feel, the difference? Just that little incremental difference? What is it? It's starting to look for solutions. Did you say it's sounding possible? Yeah, it sounds possible now. It's open-ended. You have no idea what this one little secret could do with every single problem you have. You start with I, and you write your problem. You start with how, and you write your problem. You start with what? Try it. What? Define your problem with what? Okay, I know some of you are still writing. Would you, I saw you write, I saw you finish. Would you share?
And what would it take to get everything done?
Oh my goodness. Did you just hear what she said? What would it take to get everything done? Wow, that's a very different question. That's a very different question. If, I just can't do it. I can't get up here. If she was to sit with 4 people and ask that question and we could give her 2 minutes to tell us her problem, like what's really stressing her out about time. And then she said, what can I do to, what did you say? What would it take to get everything done? Can you imagine how quickly her solution could start coming to her? What would it take to get everything done? That is so different than saying, I have no idea how I'm ever going to get all my crap done. I can't believe I work for this crappy company. They don't give me any resources. I lack what I need to be successful. Do we lack what we need to be successful? Absolutely not. What we need to be successful, where is it located? Right? Our mind, our heart, our soul, our body, our movement, our action. Okay, that one technique is really huge. I beg you to use it. You won't believe what will happen to you, especially if you keep writing. Here's another technique, and we're spending the most time on this particular aspect this morning about questions, because in 1 hour, the key that I could give you that could help you solve time management issues is questions. So here's the next big key of questions. It's the 5 to 50 why. The 5 to 50 why. Write that down. The 5 to 50 why. So what I mean by that is someone states a problem. For instance, I don't have enough time. There's an I would start, I don't have enough time. Is that open-ended for solutions? Somebody say, absolutely not. I don't have enough time. Okay, well that's done. That's a closed loop. But if I said, how could I create more time? Oh, that just changed things. What could I do to have more time? That just changed things. But another technique is the why. So, the why, if we were all sitting at a table, I didn't know we were going to be so spread out, so instead of doing it in groups of 2, we're just going to do it as a group. The why. Let me give you the why technique. You need 2 people to do the why. So it's a friend, it's a colleague, it's your kids, it's I don't care who, okay? You need someone else to do the why. So would someone come volunteer? Who just loves to help the speaker? Yeah! Champion! All right, okay, that's true. What's your name?
Reagan.
Reagan. Nice to meet you. I'm Harmony. Yeah. Okay. So Reagan, could you please start by telling me what your problem is with time?
I'm working 2 jobs in the same company right now, and I don't have enough time to get everything done.
Did you hear all the I's? She immediately defaulted to I. Did you guys hear that? You do the same thing every single time you have a problem. I promise you, you do.
Can you repeat what you said?
Sure. Yeah, you should look to them. Probably I'll stand right behind you. You look to them, and what did you say?
I said I'm working 2 jobs with the same company, and I don't have enough time to do everything.
Okay? That's what you do too. I promise you, if we had a video or an audio recorder, that's what you do all the time. I. Closed loop. Everything she just said, is it open? No, it's a closed loop. Okay, say it one more time so I can start the why with you.
Okay. I'm working 2 jobs in one company, and I don't have enough time to do everything.
So Reagan, why don't you have enough time to do everything?
It's 2 jobs for one person.
Okay,
Little.
so why do you work 2 jobs?
Because we don't have enough staff.
So why don't you have enough staff?
Because I can't find anyone to replace me in my old job, so I'm doing both. But we don't have enough staff. We haven't found them yet. Essentially, we haven't found them yet.
So why did you move on to a new job when you still hadn't filled the old job?
We got promoted, and I wasn't going to turn it down.
Okay, so why haven't you spoken to anyone about that you can't do 2 jobs?
Oh, you're good. Because I did not want to admit defeat and look weak.
So why would admitting defeat and looking weak be more important to you than having time in your life? Okay.
Because I don't want to let down my executive.
Okay, so here's what I want you to see. It moves you right out of your, here is my pat answer. Why don't you have time? I don't have time because I have to work 2 jobs and I don't have enough time to get everything done. You didn't have that attitude. I'm copying the attitude. So, but before you know it, with the whys, you begin to move right out of your preconceived pattern and into a different way of thinking. Could we play the first video, please? Take a look at this. Thank you, Reagan.
There's never enough time to do everything. There's always enough time to do the most important thing. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, 7-Bit.
Thank you. Okay. What did you get from it? Let's go even deeper than that. What do you really see from that?
We actually have enough time, we just don't proportionately.
Okay, we have enough time. So if we're going to look at it just on the surface about time, then this is a really good time management video. But I actually use this in Sugar Snap Peas on all kinds of topics. Do you know why? This is the deeper part. Because it shows you that the very mindset that you have, that you don't have enough time, you are convinced that that mindset is true. Every day you go to work, every day you don't get it all done. Every day you feel stressed stressed every day you leave, there's work undone. There's stress from the work undone, there's stress from the problems that come from it. It just keeps on escalating over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And so we are convinced that that jar, the way it ended up, that first display, well, that makes total sense. Yeah, we never get to it, right? And we got all these big important things still left in the dish. Of course, that's life. But the fact is, it was just the way we perceived our problem. Because when we actually turned the problem inside out, or upside down, or rearranged the problem, or thought about the problem differently, was there a solution? Absolutely. And that's what I want you to grab hold of. The solution is very often in the questions that we ask that open up our mind to be able to see differently. Now, this leads us to our next point, which is also very important. In 1 hour, there's only so much you can learn about this issue, but I think we're doing, okay, they let me start real late, so I'm assuming I get to go till a little later then.
There should be a little flexibility there.
Yeah, I was like 15 minutes late. Okay. Here's what I want you to realize. The second big issue that keeps you stuck in time problems is that we tell ourselves the same story. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going on a journey. I'm leaving from home, I'm going to work. And when I leave from home and go to work, I have kid number 1. Kid number 1. I've dropped them off at school. Starbucks. Kid number 2. Off to school. Now where am I going? Maybe the dry cleaners, but probably to work. It's my same pattern every day. Drop 1 kid, drop 2 kids. I forgot my lunch. All this stuff. Work. Does that become a pattern in your mind? Have you ever kind of found that you got to work and went, oh. Have you ever noticed that when you do those repetitive trips, lots of times you don't even remember driving there? At some point in time, you lost your consciousness about that. You were reading texts. How our world has changed. You were on the phone. You were listening to music. You were daydreaming. You were swearing. You were flying the finger at somebody. You were whatever. And you show up at work and you realize, oh, I'm here again. Yay, with no time. I'm out of time. I'm already out of time and I'm here. Okay, this is the beginning. This is the evidence of what is called a neural pathway. Truly, in your brain, the same thing has happened. You've created a pattern. And that's why you can do it almost unconsciously until when you leave Starbucks and you're on your way to drop off the second kid, uh-oh. Crime scene, crime scene, crime scene. Blocked off, police cars, flash, flash, flash. Crime scene tape, uh-oh, blah, blah, blah. You're going nowhere. What happens in your head? Here's this kid. Mom, I'm late for school. You know what's going to happen to me if I'm late for school. My teacher's going to be Mom. Right here, you have a meeting. It starts in 25 minutes. You're leading the meeting. You just chewed everybody out in the last meeting for being late. Here you are. How many times does this kind of stuff happen in life? So what happens? When you pull up, and this is your first sign that you have a problem, what happens in your mind? what happens? Somebody tell me.
You don't know where to go.
You don't know where to go. You are stuck. You're stuck because the pattern of thinking that you use all the time to take you where you're going to go, and the same pattern that you have about how you think about time, has come smack dab to a wall. That is what happens when I say to you, change from I to how. You go, I watched you. You went, how? Right? You have to stop. Change it to what? What? Oh. When I'm sitting there with Reagan saying, why? Her brain, did you see her? She's like, you can see it's not firing right. Why? Because this isn't the way she's used to processing that problem. Next video, please.
As for every single one of us, learning something new means rearranging the way our brain works. Our brain has an astonishing 100 billion neurons, or brain cells, all connected together. Learning is about creating and strengthening pathways through these neurons that impulses of electricity. But between each and every connection in our brains, there's a tiny gap called a synapse. For any of us to learn something new, the electrical signal has to jump across this gap to continue its journey. The gap between the two brain cells is tiny, but that doesn't mean it's straightforward for a signal to get from one side to the other. For us, it's like crossing a deep ravine.
Isn't that often how it feels like? That's where you are to your solution?
And getting from one side to the other should tell us something about the way we learn. The first time a signal crosses from one brain cell to the other demands the most effort, and it's the same when we cross our ravine. The first trip across it is the hardest. Having crossed the ravine once, the journeys across get
But in recent years, even the last 10 years, they've discovered that you can be sitting here, and if anyone of you in here is 90, just saying, if anyone was 90, you could still be learning. Your brain still learns. Every single time you do something new, or you learn something new, or you act in a new way, they've discovered that you literally reshape the brain. The brain starts making new connections. It literally even changes shape if you're doing enough of the one thing to accommodate the one thing. So here's the problem. You saw when you saw what happens with the electricity, and the electricity is flowing in the brain, and then it reaches something it doesn't know. Did you see what there was? There's a gap. It's called a synapse. It's a gap. It stops, literally. So when you feel that in your head, like when I say to you, why? And you're like, that's exactly what just happened. When I say to you, change from I to how, and you feel that pause, You run right up to the, just like you saw with the cliff, they just demonstrated it in human terms, you run right up to the gap. And it's like, I'm up against a wall. I don't know what to do. There's crime scene tape and police cars in my path, and I do this path every day. What am I going to do? And it stops. And this is where most people stop with their problem. And I dare say it's where you've stopped with time. You literally have repeated to yourself so many times that you don't have enough time. You have convinced yourself that. People get together and they all talk about it. How many of us have talked about that in pubs, restaurants, cafes, family get-togethers, at night with your spouse, on the phone, to yourself, with your dog, with your cat, to God, to the devil? How many of you have had that conversation? Of course you have. And the more the conversation's like, oh man, I know what you mean. You wouldn't believe what it's like in my house, blah, 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 blah. And what are we doing to our thoughts about time? We're completely reinforcing the neural pathway that says we, what? Just do not have enough time. The fact is, our problem with time is not that we don't have enough, and I'm not going to go to the same old stuff you always hear about time management, saying, you just need to manage your time better. Because the bottom line is, we won't manage our time better if we think we don't have enough time. Because someone will say to us, you know, you should put the big rocks in the jar first, like you saw in the video. That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? How many of you, yeah, you'd really like to do the big rocks first? That sounds terrific. Pull. When you're on your way to work and you run into the thing, what just happened to the big rocks? You're already going down the tubes, right? Big rocks have got to be the meeting you're supposed to lead in 25 minutes. That's got to be one of the big rocks. You're not going to be there unless you can come up with a different solution, unless you can think on your feet. You're not going to be there. You've already messed up your day. It's not all the management tools, they're fantastic, but then life happens. And life's always happening. How many have you found out life isn't even controllable? What is controllable is our ability to adapt, think, change, have a new idea. Oh, my mind. I can go here, I can go there. We can do this, we can do that, we can fix this, we can do that. We didn't have the flip chart. And I wanted to draw the map and be all dramatic for you and show you the thing so you could see go into the home and whatever. But we didn't have the flip chart. So I asked 3 times, do you think we could get the flip chart? No. Can we get the flip chart? No. Do you think I can have the flip chart? No. So after the answer no got engraved in my brain, I already made a decision, just like I did about this thing. There's got to be a different way. So I decided I was going to be the car, and I was going to drive myself all around the room, and you were going to watch it in motion. That's what we do with time. We just adapt all the time. Now, I'm not saying you don't use the right management tools. That's the next step of the problem solving. But the problem is starting with the gap between the problem and the solution. And to change it, you're gonna have to jump. And I can promise you, it will feel uncomfortable. Do you think that was super comfortable for the guys crossing the thing? That looks scary, isn't it? I was gonna swear. That looks scary as scary, right? Jumping across that thing. That's how it feels, trying to do it different. That's how it feels, trying to be brave with the problem. So, if I'm going to change how I think about the problem, I would like you to ask yourself, before we go into the last phase, I would like to ask yourself, what would it look like if your problem was solved? Please write that down. What would it look like? You can turn your paper over, there's a big blank part on the back, whatever. What would it look like if your problem was solved? Don't tell me what the problem is. Tell me what it would look like if your problem with time was solved. Oh man, I'm nervous. She's already evaluating me. That could be bad. That could be very, very, very serious indeed. Wait till you see the last video. I might redeem myself. All right? Okay? If the problem was solved, what would my life look like? What would my relationship with time look like? Who wants to throw it out there? Okay, you'd have time. I know you're listening even though you're way back there. Guy in the red shirt. Yeah, you. What would it look like if the problem was solved?
Success.
It would look like success. Someone describe it to me better, in more detail. Not better, sorry about that. In more detail, what would it look like if my problem was solved? My problem with time was solved.
Personally, I would have more time to volunteer and or travel.
Okay, stop right there. I would have more time to volunteer and travel. There's one description. Somebody else. Yes?
First of all, I want to thank you for being able to imitate the accent of the voices in my head. I would be more excited about my work because I would be able to get to the things that give me my passion.
I am more excited about my work because now with my amazing problem-solving techniques. What was in?
I would be able to get to the things.
I would be able to get to the things. So when I'm driving home from work, could you do this with me for a second? Picture the trip that we saw. You're driving home, you're picking up the kids, reverse everything in your head. And what is it starting to look like when I left my desk? Neat, tired, things were done, calls were made. I'm on top of my game. What does it look like? Put it in your head. I'm driving home. Yeah, that's right. What are we going to have for dinner? I don't know. I've got time. I've got time to make dinner. Kids are screaming. Do I care? Well, yeah, I still care. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Can you see yourself? A lot of us would say no. And the reason it's no